Have you ever noticed how sometimes life seems perfectly in order on the outside, but on the inside, everything feels kind of wilted? It's like a tree with beautiful leaves, but no firm roots. The slightest breeze knocks it over. The daily hustle, the carefully made plans, everything running in the right mode. Yet something refuses to bloom. And then comes the thought no one likes to face. What if the problem isn't the circumstances, but what's been silently cultivated within? It's hard to admit, but what hides in the heart eventually shows in the fruit. It's common to ask yourself, why is my love life always so complicated? Or why does nothing ever go right at work? As if the universe had something personal against you. But more often than not, the root is somewhere else. Buried grudges, unresolved envy, frustrated expectations that harden the soil too much for anything to grow. You can't just throw fertilizer on poison ground. You know that person who always says, "I'm fine," but inside carries a storm? A contaminated heart produces bitter fruit, even if the outside seems sweet. Today, the goal is to dig into that soil and understand what's been planted in silence. Many hearts may look like gardens at first glance, but deep down they hide weeds of guilt, pride, and fear. And here's the curious part. Sometimes we think we're planting faith, but what's actually growing is anxiety. That's what we're going to talk about. What's being watered in secret and why it deeply affects the fruit life brings. And if this message feels like it's not meant for you, that might be your biggest warning sign. Imagine your heart as a wide, open field, a quiet land that receives everything you throw into it. Every thought is a seed, sometimes small, almost unnoticeable, but powerful enough to transform the entire landscape. And feelings? They're like fertilizer, either nourishing or rotting whatever has been sown. The incredible thing is that this soil doesn't reject anything. It makes both healing and destruction grow. Everything blooming today started back then, in the invisible, when no one was watching. God designed the heart with a unique power to give life to whatever is placed inside it. That's why you'll see people going through their darkest days with peace, because deep within, they've stored faith, hope, and purpose, seeds that survive even the fiercest storms. But there are also those who live in constant frustration, even surrounded by opportunity, because what they carry inside is fear, hurt, bitterness. The soil doesn't filter, it simply responds to whatever it receives. No wonder it's written in Proverbs 4 verse 23. Above all else, guard your heart. Take a closer look. No one can see what you think or feel, but everyone notices the fruit it produces. The way you speak, react, choose, all of it grows from the seeds planted within. Sometimes, the external chaos is just a mirror of an inner mess that's been ignored for too long. And the worst part? Even those with good intentions might be watering the wrong seeds, thinking they're doing the right thing. That's where many get lost, trying to change the harvest without first checking what they've been planting all along. How many times does life feel like a rerun of frustration? People change environments, switch relationships, find new jobs, but still end up with the same results. It's like trimming the branches of a sick tree and expecting the fruit to come out healthy. But the real problem was never what's visible. It's always been in the hidden roots. Resentment, pride, comparison, indifference. These invisible seeds quietly sabotage even the best new beginnings. So much of the pain choking everyday life didn't come from the outside. It was fed from within, through neglect. A relationship that dried up wasn't due to lack of communication, but an excess of pride. A friendship that ended coldly often started dying when affection turned into demands. Some lives turned into deserts simply because they were watered with appearances, and the heart, which should have been a place of surrender, became a storage room for self-protection. And all of this happened slowly, quietly, like weeds growing in the dark. Maybe the attempt to change has already happened. Changing partners, jobs, cities, friends, it all feels new, but the same cycle repeats. The wound returns. The emptiness resurfaces. The fights echo again. Because as long as the root remains the same, the fruit will too. Maybe it's time to stop trimming the branches and start healing the soil. Changing the packaging doesn't transform the content. And a neglected heart, even wrapped in success, is still abandoned ground. While human eyes are drawn to performance, God looks at essence. What impresses on stage doesn't move heaven, because God is never swayed by what sparkles on the outside. He examines what grows in silence. People may be applauding your visible choices, but the Lord is watching what you've been cultivating behind the scenes. As the word says, He searches the heart. What's invisible to everyone is crystal clear before Him. And here comes a necessary confrontation. How many prayers cry out for transformation, yet are followed by attitudes that keep feeding the wrong roots? The mouth pleads for peace, but the mind still replays revenge. The desire is for prosperity, but the heart is constantly comparing itself to others. The pursuit is for purpose, but daily words are loaded with negativity, doubt, and fear. How can we expect sweet fruit while watering the soul with poison every single day? The question that needs to echo right now is simple, yet deep. What have you been watering in your heart lately? Has it been faith or frustration, love or pride, words of hope or complaints disguised as venting? Sometimes, heaven has already released what you asked for, but the soil of your heart isn't ready to receive it. And when God holds something back, it's not punishment, it's protection. He only allows growth when the soil won't destroy the harvest. The good news is that no field has to remain unfruitful forever. The soil of the heart can be restored, but you can't plant something new without first uprooting what's old. Pride, resentment, fear, all of it needs to be pulled out with strength. Because even the best seed will rot if thrown into contaminated ground. And real change doesn't begin on the outside. It starts with the small, daily choices that may seem simple, but carry tremendous power. The word is clear in Galatians 6 verse 7. A man reaps what he sows. So if the harvest hasn't been pleasing, maybe it's time to reevaluate what's been thrown into your heart. Forgive the one who hurt you, even if they never apologized. Stop feeding the toxic thoughts that have already turned into habits. Replace criticism with prayer, even when all you want to do is scream. And most of all, water your faith with the word, even when the situation seems to contradict every promise. This isn't about perfection, it's about direction. Every choice you make today prepares the ground for tomorrow. That silent prayer no one sees waters your spirit. The forgiveness released through tears clears the soil. The decision to stop comparing and start trusting changes the climate of your entire field. And even if it feels hard at first, heaven moves when the heart realigns with its purpose. Restoration is guaranteed, as long as the new seed is planted with a new posture. Maybe the past few years have felt lost, watered by pain, disappointment, bad choices, or even silence. But that doesn't cancel God's power to start over. He specializes in turning dry land into gardens. No matter how long the soil has been barren, all it takes is one real decision to change what you're planting, even if it's with tears. Because in God's kingdom, tears are never wasted. They're fertilizer for miracles. Today, heaven is extending an invitation. It's time to clear the soil, to pull out what suffocates, what weighs you down, what keeps you stuck, to let go of self-punishment and start planting new seeds of healing, peace, and purpose. It doesn't matter what your natural eyes see right now. What you plant in faith, you will reap in joy. It may seem small today, but what grows from a clean heart grows with consistency and echoes through generations. I declare this in faith. Today is the beginning of your new season. The days of just surviving are behind you. Now it's time to plant with awareness, with intention, with hope, and harvest with celebration. Even if the tears still fall, keep sowing. Because those who sow in tears will reap with songs of joy. God is still writing stories through those who choose to start over from the inside out. And yours could be the next one. It's time to look inward with honesty and choose with intention. Your heart is fertile ground. And now, only you can decide. Will you keep planting what wounds or start sowing what heals? What once seemed impossible is now within reach with a single decision. God has already prepared the heavens. But what blooms here on earth is born from what you feed daily. The power for transformation has already been released. Now it's your move. The future you long for doesn't begin by chance or next year. The future isn't born tomorrow. It begins in what you choose to nurture today. Every word, every thought, every quiet choice is shaping the soil where your miracles will grow. Change doesn't happen overnight, but it starts with the first seed. And you've just received many. Now, what will bloom depends on what you decide to do with them from this moment on. If this word reached you, mark it here. Write in the comments. Today I choose to plant what comes from God. That simple act activates something within you, like sealing the decision with action. Because when the heart opens up to plant what is eternal, even pain becomes fertilizer. And believe this, all of heaven moves when someone chooses to sow with purpose.